Well, thanks for joining us on 7 for 12. This is the place to be for all the review of the Test series between England and India. And we've had a fascinating day at Trent Bridge on day 4. This is what's coming up in the show. A little bit of Root, a little bit of Bumrah, a lot about Suraj and his big mouth. That was absolutely box office and brilliant. Don't forget to like, subscribe and review, and we'll answer your questions later in the show.
Well, a phenomenal day's play here at Trent Bridge in Nottingham on day 4, leaving the Test match delicately poised. Who would have thought we'd be in this position with the weather forecast and England stumbling into a heap on day 1? But we are. India need just shy of 160 to win the first Test match against England. 9 wickets in hand. But England, led by Captain Marvel himself, Joe Root, with a magnificent 109, have just about kept England in the hunt. Plenty to discuss on the 7 for 12 today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, John, another fantastic day at Trent Bridge. You were there. You can see it baking in sunshine again, and you've had a little bit of rain, a lot of sunshine. Weather forecasters are hopeless. 330 runs in 82 overs. What a day's cricket.
I tell you what, I have a motto, Harmy, on talkSport. I mention it regularly, and it's this: never believe the weather forecast. And I was absolutely right to have that motto. I might get a tattoo. Look, we were forecast to be sitting up with our knees on the feet on the table, reading a book. We got a full day's play, and because Jadeja bowled so quickly, I love Jadeja. We got our full allocation as well. It was absolutely incredible. It was an I was there moment. But we've been treated, the first three days. We've seen some brilliant bowling. We've seen some slapstick fielding, and we haven't really seen a lot of great batting. Today, Joe Root put on a masterclass. It was one of my favourite Joe Root innings, and he properly led from the front. And I'm not saying that just because he scored 100. It was evident straight from the off. His body language, he was telling the blokes watching him in the dressing room, this is how we're going to go about it. We're not going to go into our shells. We're going to get out there and we're going to score runs, put the pressure back on India. And for a large period of today, that pressure was back on India. A brilliant knock from the captain. India will still feel very happy with where they are, especially, how quickly they scored those runs towards the tail end of the day. But brilliant from Joe Root. But, Harmy, he cannot do it all by himself.
No, we can't, and that's the frustrating thing about today is that we've got a masterclass. We've got a masterclass from Joe Root in his ability to absorb pressure, but then release it by a little bit of counter attack. Not reckless in any shape or form. When you talk about counter attack, you're expecting Adam Gilchrist type Rashid Khan going when the bowl's doing a bit, going at the bowler and taking risks. These were proper cricket shots, hitting good areas of good balls with elegance, with style, in Joe Root manner. I actually think this is one of his best ever hundreds. I think that's at 22 now on the all-time list. It's a phenomenal achievement. I just thought he was balanced at the crease. And you talk about watch this in the dressing room. Well, watch his balanced batsman, because every single time Joe Root was at the point of contact, his head was in such a still position. Waiting on the ball, coming to him and just letting a full flow of the bat. He was magnificent. It was masterful. And the shot down the ground to get to the 100 and the arms going aloft.
Yeah. David Warner-esque. It was like David Warner out there. He ran down the track. He did the old jump, the leap, big smile. There was some thought that, only if he hadn't have done that, everyone would have said, the captain knows the job is only half done.
Yeah.
Sod that. That was a brilliant 100. Celebrate. I was so delighted. I was delighted to see his body language. There was a moment, Sibley was giving out leg before wicket when he was on 24. And Root told him, try and overturn it because I think that's going down leg. And it was proved to be. His reaction was another punch in punch gloves. Yeah. He is putting his body language out there. He's trying to tell the Indians that England are not going to be cowed, and he's just hoping that the rest of the England team follow suit. And certainly Ollie Robinson and Jimmy Anderson will follow suit. But it's easier being a bowler doing it, no offence. It's the batsmen as well, you know, the need to just believe that they can beat this great Indian side.
Absolutely, and I thought the animation that he showed when he got the 100 was a little bit, well, I should have done that in the first innings because he was in such a great place, and to see him walk off the way he did in the first inning, and he trudged himself off. I think he knew there was a score there to be had. And there's somebody else I think we haven't mentioned that might have been in his thoughts and in the equation, and that's his good mate Ben Stokes. I really think that there was a little message to Ben up in the Northeast to say, look, you know, you get well soon, you get better. This team needs you, but we'll get you back whenever you're ready. I know I'm having to carry the burden, and this is for you, mate. And I wouldn't surprise me if Collins from Joe Root are coming tonight or tomorrow or at the end of the game to say that he had a little thought about his pal when he got that 100, because the animation that Joe showed was a man not of relief. It was a man of, I've done something special here, which he had. He had done something really special because the bowling is a very, very good bowling attack. And I thought it was a masterclass by Joe all around the ground, whether he was hitting it down the third man because the ball was a good ball. He respected their good ball, dropped his hands, let it run down through slip of third man. Square cut, he was on it nicely. He was on the pull, and the drive through extra cover was just elegant. It was Gower-esque, it was elegant, and it was beautiful. And England are going to need the captain to stand up in all 5 test matches, and a little bit of a look over towards the slip area to Virat Kohli to say, well, I've got 170 runs now in this test match series. You haven't got any yet so far. It is going to be the battle between Kohli and Root. And at this minute in time, you know, Joe's started off well, and hopefully for England fans, it is for the rest of the summer.
Absolutely. Quick word for Dominic Sibley, because he only scored 28. On the face of it, you looked at. We all do it, don't we? We look down the scorecard to quickly work out the game. I still can't work out 100 games, by the way. I look at the screen, I'm like, what the hell's going on? But
I've got an old telly, John. I've got an old telly, so the 100, the score doesn't come on my telly. You just get half the score.
No,
so at the minute, I'm looking at a score of 24 off 9 balls at the minute, but it's not. It's 124 off 90. So I still need to. It doesn't. I'm in the Northeast, you know. We get there a bit slower.
Your accent kicked in then. Well, look, I've got a modern TV and I still can't work out what's going on. But look, you scan down the scorecard quickly, don't you? You see Root was scored a century. You see middling scores here, left, right and centre. England were in trouble at the top of the order, 46 for 2. Sibley, in his own style, ate it up, 133 deliveries. His manner of dismissal was a bit odd. He suddenly thought he was Sachin Tendulkar, I think. But that was a crucial part of the game. You know, England may not go on and win this, but the fact that they've got a chance is down to a lot because of the crease occupation from Dominic Sibley. A little, you can see at the bottom, it just says Dominic Sibley, 28 from 133 balls. I'd forgotten he'd even hit 2 fours. I'm struggling to remember when that happened, but
he hit them yesterday. That's why. He didn't hit them today.
Maybe it was.
That's why.
Is that why it is?
Yesterday.
No, he wasn't batting yesterday, was he?
Yeah, he was batting overnight. England were 25 overnight.
Oh,
Sibley,
yeah.
I think, had 2 fours overnight. That's why he didn't hit a 4 today.
That's right. So he didn't even hit a 4 today. Look, he does divide opinion. I know there are some who are desperate to get him out the side because he's so ugly a batsman to watch, and we're all about the David Gower aesthetics. But, you know, I think I saw a stat. I'm not exactly sure, but of his 33 innings, I think 13 or 14 of them, or maybe 17 of them, he's occupied the crease for over 100 deliveries. And actually, that is part of the job of being an opener, even if you do drive us all mad by not being particularly attractive to watch.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it is your job to absorb the game at the top, especially in England against the Duke ball in English conditions. If you can bat for 100 balls, you're doing your job as an opener. Yes, he'd want some more runs. Yes, it doesn't look great on the eye. And he's faced 133 balls and 132 of them, he's not played a shot really in any sort of anger. And then the 133rd one, it was a shot that I think Richard Pant would have looked to play.
Yeah.
And he's got out. So look, you can be critical because the volume of runs he scored, because at Test match level, 28 is a poor score for a top 6 batsman. Because if you get out for less than 10, you've been got out because you're not quite in. If you get to 28, you've got to go on and get a big score. But actually, the balls he faced, in theory, for a Test match player in the top 6, if you face 133 balls, you should be 60 or 70, if not more. So that is the challenge for Dominic, and I think he's got something about him. He's got a steel and determination and a mindset for Test match cricket. He's probably just got to develop his game. I think Jonathan Trott had a similar thing when he came into the England side, where he faced a lot of balls. He got more runs per ball ratio than what Sibley did, but he developed his game into a fantastic player, all-round player, as he got more confident and as he got hundreds under his belt. And it just might be the case of giving him a little bit more time. Where Burns he got 100 against New Zealand. He looks all at sea, and so does Crawley. But I do believe Crawley and Sibley, especially Crawley from a technique point of view, I think he's got more about him to get big runs if he bats for the 133 balls. But sometimes you've got to be careful of criticising somebody too much when what you're asking him to do is occupy the crease. Well, he's done that. He's occupied the crease. If he gets out there and it exposes the next, Butler comes in earlier, then all of a sudden, England don't get 210 leads. So I think we've got to be careful on criticising him too much. But the one thing I will be saying is, Test match level, if you're going to face that many balls, your strike rate's got to be better than what it actually is.
What about India then? How did you feel they went about their game today? Because they were always just about in control. There was never a period you thought England were getting away from them. They took wickets at regular intervals. And, the problem with Sibley, of course, is even when he was in, England was scoring so slowly. They were never really getting it away. And then, of course, they've got the absolute brilliance, haven't they? Jasprit Bumrah, 9 wickets for the match. Just dismissing. He's exactly the kind of bowler that you love to have in your side. Just blow away the tail. It's what he did again today. And he's just an absolute joy to watch, isn't he? Even if you are an England fan.
Yeah, he's box office. He is box office with his walk. His half walk run up and then stutters up and hop, skip and a jump and away he goes. Bang, straight over at decent pace. He's box office, and a tail ender doesn't really stand a chance for them. It's like having a Murley or a Warne, or a Kumble, Harbisher. These, top quality bowlers, spin bowlers who knock tails over, spin the ball both ways. It's like having one of them up your sleeve. And I think that's where England have got to go to Lords and potentially go with Mark Wood, because that's how you knock the tail over. Having pace, bounce a Yorker, bolt the stumps. And Jasprit Bumrah certainly did that. He didn't just knock the tail over. I thought he bowled well all day. I thought India bowled well all day. I thought Shami stuck to his task. Probably wasn't his. It wasn't his day. I think he had a better day in the first innings. Thakur, even though there was a lot of question marks on selection, I thought he justified his selection because he's got a knack of just taking wickets. He took some big wickets in this Test match. And he's got the ball to swing, old-fashioned English seamer, pitching it up and taking it away from like a little arced run-up. And it probably did justify his selection over Ravi Ashwin, even though, but I still can't believe a bowler of Ravi Ashwin's quality can't get a game in a Test match team. So that's an argument for another day. Well, there's one we haven't mentioned, and he was brilliant. I really enjoyed him today. Mohammad Siraj, I tell you what, if he plays 5 Test matches, I want to see what he's like come. I know more than anything else to play 7 Test matches in an English summer when you've got to go up and down the M1 and across the M62 and across, around the M25 about 4 times in a coach sitting hunched up. I want to see what he's like come Old Trafford in the middle of September, because if he's still got the fire in his belly and the mouthpiece and having a go at people, then good on you, kid, because I enjoyed it today. I really did. I thought that the whole day was fantastic. But the hilarious point of it, and it'll come up it'll come up a bit later probably in the moments of the day. But Virat Kohli had to tell him to shut up at one point, and that is the pot calling the kettle black. If Virat's telling you to be quiet, you must be overstepping the mark. But hey,
absolutely,
he's going to have to cop some weight bats. But hey, good on him for standing up when he bowled. I thought he was very good today.
Absolutely. If Virat Kohli is acting peacemaker, then yeah. Well, that's where you want to be, though. I love that. When Siraj got Bairstow's wicket and he put the old thing, he'll probably get a demerit point for that and a fine. Nah, let that happen. Bairstow doesn't care. I mean, he cares he got out, but if Bairstow wants that kind of contest, there was an absolutely glorious moment. I don't know if you saw it, but Siraj started to give Bairstow an absolute mouthful, and Bairstow just looked at him and leant on his back and was like, nah, I'm sorry, mate. You might be able to get away with doing that to some of my more mild-mannered batting comrades, but nah, on your bike.
I think Bairstow might keep that one for Sunrisers of Hyderabad against, I think he's an RCB now, is Mohammad Siraj. And when he comes out with a brand new ball and Johnny's standing 22 yards away with Davey Warner at the other end, I think you might bring that back up if the ball starts going to all parts of Bangalore or of at Hyderabad Stadium. But hey, it was box office. I enjoyed it. Don't mind when players go, as long as they don't cross the line. As long as they don't cross the line. I don't think he did. I think he got close to it. I don't think he crossed it. And I thought it was good TV to watch.
Brilliant stuff. Well, look, plenty of you're absolutely right. I think Mohammad Siraj may well feature in Moment of the Day. Well, we talked about Izaji Barji, the insults flying around in Hindi, no doubt. But there is one other thing we learned from Mohammad Siraj today, and that is never trust him when it comes to a review. I think he had three of them. Well, he certainly had two, maybe three. Kohli didn't. That's the other thing. Kohli's always the one that wants the reviews. He had to be convinced, and he still went for it, and they were all terrible reviews. So, there is a serious thing, though. In terms of the flashpoint, there is a lot of prestige, a lot of pressure, because India haven't won in England for a long time. This may well be Virat Kohli's last opportunity to do so as captain. We don't know. But he's taken, he was in Australia, of course, left after the first test, which India lost, and then India won that series. He is a passionate and a kind of guy that a win in England is what he wants on his CV as India captain. And considering we're only in the first test match, do you feel that we are going to have some pretty tasty moments between now and Old Trafford, especially if this is a close series?
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be great. I think that's why this series is going to be box office. If England can get some runs on the board and put pressure on Kohli, pressure on Kohli's captaincy, I think that's the point that England need. If England can get Kohli to, get the animation of Virat Kohli in the field when, the ball's maybe going everywhere, his bowlers aren't bowling as well. He's got a bit of Nasser Hussain in him. He's got a bit of throw the cap down and kick the dirt a little bit. Which fires him up and it gets him going. And he might need that to get him going for the batting as well. But I agree. I think if you've got Siraj in your team for 5 test matches, I think Bumrah doesn't need to say anything. He just goes along. Nah. He's happy here. I think Shami is another one who just loves being out there in the middle. But Siraj, you see the clips here and you see Siraj going at Sam Curran. Another one who's in the IPL. Another one who could belt him everywhere in the IPL. And I thought that's the closest thing to getting over the line when he did with Bairstow. Is he going to cross the line? Possibly.
Yeah, he probably will get done for that. But
I don't mind. He'll get a slap on the wrist. He'll go with it. But for me, that was brilliant. And that, for me, will keep the series going. Talking points, and it'll be brilliant. But another moment of the day for me, John, was the celebration from Joe Root, the England captain. That was a masterpiece. That was brilliant. The way he went, the minute it hit the middle of his bat, went straight down the ground. He knew it was 4. Sam Curran's got his hands in the air. Joe Root's got his hands in the air, running towards, I think, you in the press box.
Yeah.
Because he has a turnaround and he pumps his fist. I tell you what, this kid, I didn't think I could say any sort of better or higher praise about Joe Root and Jimmy Anderson. And this test match, the two of them, one in the 39th and one in the 40th year. And Joe was all the stuff batting around him and falling to pieces. Both innings for me, he's held England together. And if England managed to get a 1-0 victory in this test match, it's largely thanks down to their captain.
Brilliant stuff. Well, look, you are watching 7 for 12. Get your reviews and your comments in the section below, and they may end up getting answered tomorrow. Right then, Harmy, let's have a little look. This is the comments section, and several people got in contact with us following yesterday's show. So let's start with Matthew Clegg. And he says, how annoying is it for a bowler when the tail is smashing them around the ground? And he also asks, what is your most fun moment whilst batting? What's your highest score when batting as well?
It's not pleasant when the bowlers are smashing you around the ground as if you're a bowler. There's a couple of times when I've had a bit of fun. I think I got 36. I actually think I average about 180 at the Oval. And largely down to not being out, and I've got 180 runs there and smashed it a couple of times against the West Indies. But it's sometimes frustrating when the bowler hangs around and doesn't get any runs, but doesn't look like getting out. And there's a couple of occasions. I think I once put 99 on with Andrew Flintoff and got 1, and at the Oval against South Africa in South Africa away. I remember the great Bob Willis having on commentary when Marcus Trescothick hit a 4 and he just turned. Bob said, well, that's a 50 partnership between Trescothick and Harmison. And on the bottom of the ticket tape, it had Harmison naught. Absolutely naught. No runs, not at all. Marcus Trescothick got all 50. So you don't have to get runs to be a pain in the backside to the bowling team, but sometimes it does help. Well,
actually, yeah, you had a similar situation today with Root and Sibley. I think that they put on 40 and Root scored 33 of them. But anyway, Mandeep says, would you like to see Wokes or Wood in the second test match and rest Anderson or Broad? Now, we know Wokes can't play in the second test match, but your old mate, Mark Wood, would you like to see him? Because I think you probably would. But do you think, I suppose it depends a little bit on the result here, doesn't it?
I think a little bit of the result here, a little bit on Mark's fitness, because remember, we've talked about 4 bowlers. How do we get Sam Curran? Sam Curran's another one. What do I do with Sam Curran? He keeps playing these great cameo 30s, but when it's not swinging in a 4-man attack, can you pick him? And tomorrow will tell that. Tomorrow is going to tell that, Mandeep, if Curran plays at Lords or England try and change the dynamics of their side. I think Wood will play at Lords. I think he has to play at Lords because of the slope, because of the pace through the air. It'll be a lot. I would imagine Lords will be a lot flatter. It'll not have as much. It'll not swing as much. It'll not have as much sideways movement. So we might see one of the 2 older guys, probably Broad, because Anderson's bowled so well. Broad might have his boots up for this game. And I would like to see a spinner play at Lords because of the slope and DRS. That comes into play. So I think England will be well changed at Lords. I think there might be a change in the baton, possibly 2 changes. And I think we might see a different dynamic of the side, especially from the bowling department. Trent Bridge suited the bowling attack we've got. I don't think the Lords will suit the bowling attack we've got here. So I can see England not changed. It's a shame about Wokes not being fit, but I want Wood to play up in London at the home of cricket.
Okay, and Michael says, assuming England changed some of the top order, who, in your opinion, can come in and get us some runs? And he's little bit worried about playing an Ashes series against the best seam attack in Australia, which I think we all are. But essentially, it's one place, though, isn't it? Sibley's okay. Maybe Lawrence. I know it's not top of the order. Lawrence might. You've got the feeling they're going to make one change, unless, of course, England win.
Yeah, if England win, I still think they'll change the bat, and I think they'll bring Ollie Pope in, which is interesting because I think Pope was all talk is Pope was going to play instead of Bairstow, which surprises me because of the stature Johnny's got from IPL against the India bowlers. I would have gone Bairstow over Lawrence and gone for experience, especially with Stokes not playing. So I think Pope will come back in because he's going to be fit. Where he goes, I'm not so sure. Does he go at 6? Does he go higher? And the dynamics of the side change, and England might have to play 5 bowlers when they've played back-to-back Test matches. Who knows? But I've got a funny feeling the little guy from Nottingham, Hamid, is going to play in the next Test match. Will he bat at 3 or will he go in first? I can see one of them changing, whether it's Rory Burns comes out or whether it's Zach Crawley comes out. I can see Hamid playing. Are they good enough? Well, time will tell. Are they ready for Australia? I don't think anybody's ready for Australia just yet because there's 4 games left against India, and we'll get to that when that comes around. At this minute in time, I think England could do with a change at the top of the order because there's 1 or 2 just lacking a bit of confidence, and it might do them the world of good just to come out and potentially have a game away from the spotlight to get themselves back in form and put themselves back in the shot-winning connection for the series at the latter part of the series.
Okay, and one last one from Abby, who says, when are you going to cut your hair?
I might get it done in between Test matches. I might do it. And that Abby is my daughter because she's been getting the backside for the last month or so. It's a lockdown haircut, which
get out of here! Come on,
we're enjoyed, but I'm gonna have to bite the bullet.
I think you are.
And get it done. Yeah,
I think you are. I think you are, mate. Even Alistair Cook was on your case about it the other day. So yeah, listen, get your comments below here, and as you can see, all that way, Harmy will answer them on the comments section. But right, okay, it's near the end of the show. It's time for Harmy's prediction. Okay, Harmy, we're running out of time very, very quickly. Who will win the first Test match between England and India?
I'm back in England. I've got a funny feeling that England's going to win this Test match. If England can get Virat Kohli in and out before India need 80 to win, I think England will be in the box seats. Big hour tomorrow morning. If they can knock over one of the wickets there, Pujara or Sharma, that's there at this moment in time, while Anderson is just getting into his spell and getting over his stiffness and getting going again. And if Kohli comes out with the cloud over and the ball relatively new, I back Anderson to do it again, and I'm backing my boys to win. So hopefully tomorrow night we'll be celebrating an England victory.
Well, we shall see. Whatever happens, 7 for 12 is the place to be, following all the action every day of India's tour of England. Big thanks to Steve Harmison. I'm John Norman, and we will see you tomorrow here on the show.